In Season 6, Episode 14, we're going to pick up seeing the damage left over from the events of the battle against Shigaraki and the villains. There's a "I am not here" sign over the All Might statue in Kamino, which really tells you everything you need to know about people's faith in the heroes and their current society. And as the cherry blossoms fall, I believe we're going to see an extended scene with ReDestro making his way to the Public Hero Safety Commission, because there are still some events left for the villains to do before they can truly begin their plans in this arc. And you might have already seen on Twitter, but there is a brand new opening for this new season of My Hero Academia, and it centers all around Dark Deku, or Deku Black, who we're definitely going to be seeing a lot of, and I have a separate video coming just talking about the opening a little later, but I was just blown away. I mean, it was a really good opening. I feel like this is one of the best openings in My Hero Academia that we've gotten in a while. Eve definitely did their thing with the song, but again, we're going to talk about that a little bit later on the channel. Just give me a couple hours. So like I said, I do believe we are going to start the episode off on ReDestro attacking the Public Hero Safety Commission and taking down the leader of the Public Hero Safety Commission before they end up realizing that it's just a ReDestro clone. And then I do believe we're going to spend at least half the episode going over everything that's happened so far in this war arc, with a lot of this episode pretty much just amounting to what I think is going to be a recap. Because if I recall correctly, that's exactly what they did last season, right? Where we went over all the events that have happened thus far in the season, and we still had a little time left in the episode to cover some new canon material. So we're going to see a lot of sections of how the battle between the heroes and the villains played out over the course of the season, and how the heroes ultimately ended up getting what seems to be the win. But really, looking at how things have kind of changed in society, I don't really know if that's what you could consider a win. Eventually though, I do believe the episode's going to come around to tie up some loose ends, like all the League of Villains members that were captured or left behind after All For One used Shigaraki's body to run away. So eventually we're going to see the Doctor Sky lifted away, Machia gets sent away, Compress I believe also gets arrested. All that's going to make news, and then we're going to cut back away to the Gunga Mountain Villa, where we find out how the battle ends between the Meta Liberation Army members and the other heroes who were still there, because keep in mind, that's not completely wrapped up yet. So expect to see ReDestro again, and maybe some get in action as we figure out how they were apprehended or whether or not they were apprehended. But then eventually, after all the battles and everything is done, we have to focus on all of the destruction and the loss of life caused by Gigantomachia's rampage. The police and the heroes really struggle to respond to this massive crisis, and more than ever, everyone has to come together to do their best to save society. But the issue is, right now more than ever, the heroes need help, and there's nowhere that they're going to get it, because they're at the place of society where they can only do the helping, right? No one expects the heroes to need help unless it's from other heroes. But what if all the heroes around you start quitting? You might see that as an option and quit yourself and just abandon the streets of Japan. And largely that is what we do see a lot of heroes doing. Ochako tries to help the rescue heroes by moving rubble and being as much help as she possibly can, and we see other Class 1A members and just other students in general helping in the rescue efforts, but things are not looking good. Machia did do a lot of damage, and as Ochako helps out, she turns and sees a hero kind of blanking out and saying, "This is too much, I can't deal with this," and she realizes things are about to get bad. A lot of the people who were involved in this operation definitely weren't ready for things to get as bad as they've gotten, with it again really seeming like the villains have definitely made their mark on society. In the forest, we see Kirishima, Mina, and Yao Momo crying over the loss of Midnight, who, if you already watched my video detailing every death in My Hero Academia, you would know we do lose to this war arc. Midnight is one of the biggest deaths that we have in the entire season, and it is going to be really sad and shocking to see the other students' reaction to everything that's gone on in this war arc once they get the news of everything that's happened, and also of course seeing their reaction to Midnight's death. Around the end of this episode, I think we're going to get the full list of every hero that we lost, and I wonder if they're going to give them names or go by them one by one, but I do think they're just going to put them all screen as little squares, just like we had in the manga, starting with the most notable ones whose names we probably know, like Midnight, Crust, Exless, and Majestic and stuff like that, but then they'll eventually move on to some of the lesser known heroes who lost their life, and I'm sure Master Driller from the other episode, who was an anime only character, is going to be in there. And then as the day closes on this long day for the heroes, I'm sure everyone is trying to get rest. A lot of heroes are actually in the hospital, and we're going to pick up on that probably in the next episode or the episode after that. But as society starts trying to recover from this war between the heroes and the villains, we head over to Tartarus Prison, where we see All For One sitting in his cell smiling, and then we're going to see Shigaraki sitting down or laying down and resting his body in front of Iguchi and Dabi, and they're going to kind of start realizing that not everything is right with Shigaraki, that he's not exactly who he says he is. But Shigaraki's going to state that as my body rests for a minute, everyone needs to prepare themselves, because we're not going to let the heroes get any rest. In a few moments, we're heading to Tartarus. Now, in the episode, we get a new ending song going over all the events that have happened in the series so far as we see Deku running through, and I can't show it right now because the episode's not out yet, but you can go and find it on Twitter, I'm sure. But the ending ends with all the characters in Class 1A kind of meeting up with Deku as he's at his lowest point, and that's actually what we're going to be talking about next as we talk about the day that Deku left UA.